Okay, that's my crazy, awesome gas soldering iron there, now cooling after it has done its job. This is my Linksys router, or the board that goes inside my Linksys router, which basically is the whole thing, because the rest is plastic. I mean, come on. This is essentially the router itself. These are its two new 16-volt, 1200 microfarad capacitors, which are hopefully close enough for government work. Where's my little contact here? There we go. As you can see, I've done this really awesome, crazily, nicely detailed soldering job here. Do I have my focus thing set right? Yeah, I do. Okay. I would have shown footage of me soldering these on, because that's how much of an egomaniac I am, but I needed both hands to do that, and Dextrosion's busy doing much more important work than this. I'm not saying that sarcastically at all. We're getting ready for a cosplay coming up at AMA 8, and she's just like a hard-working trooper here sewing up our costumes. But I digress. I now have this board set up. So we're going to be here for the moment of truth now. You're going to get to see this, not live, but videoed, I guess. First thing we'll do is we'll, that's the back end, really, technically. Here's the front end. Here's the power. It's sitting on its own case. Let's plug it in and see what happens. Ooh, swing, swing. I want to see that red light go out. That goes out. That goes out. Woo! Very promising. We just got our power light on now. The diag light is not staying on. Now, typically, in recent history, what's happened is if I turn that router off and leave it off for, assuming that it was working properly when I had it on, through whatever machinations of my own, if I turned it off and left it off for a day or so, or more, when I turned it on again, I had the red diag light and it was stuck. But now, as you can see, that is not the case. Next thing I want to do is, you see here, we've got our X. It means we don't have a network. Now, I know that some of the ports on this were bad. This may or may not have been because of that capacitor. The general flakiness of the router, yeah, but the bad ports, I don't know. So let's plug one in. Oh, it's really dark. Why are you so dark? You see, that port was bad the other time, like 5 minutes ago. I was trying to hook it up. Now, we've got an exclamation point here. I don't know if that's going to go away or not. I hope it will. I mean, I'm majorly suffering from bad ports on this thing. We're not really getting, so we're getting a 169 IP address. Really. Okay, I was rudely interrupted by a low battery on my camera. However, as I was saying, we have a 169 address, which means that something ain't right. But anyway, let's go ahead and unplug this and plug it into another port. A couple of these ports seem like they're totally dead. Now, they don't. Does this mean that we're going to get a proper IP address here? Probably not, unfortunately. I don't know exactly what's going on here, what the story is. I may have to do a renew and release here. Well, that's true. It's a possibility, as Dextrosion suggested off of camera. You may or may not have heard. I may need to put the firmware in. The other possibility is I may just need to give it a straight reset. So we'll try that. And I was about to grab a paperclip to do it, but since the button is exposed and visible here, let's go ahead and unplug this until our network connection goes away totally. Vista's kind of slow about this. It's like, oh yeah, you unplugged the network cable. Oh, finally Peter realized that, huh? So we'll go ahead and get that. Reset to factory defaults. Red diag light, green link light comes back on. Okay, let's plug it back in. This is happening now, people. You're living this with me. Ooh. Yeah, and we're getting that damn exclamation point in the yellow triangle there. 169, alright. So the next thing to try is go down and run command in administrator mode, if I haven't already, but I don't think I did. So, this is one of the annoying things about Vista. You try to do anything other than straight IP config to look at stuff, It says it requires escalation. So run as administrator, and the screen goes blank. Oh my God, I'm trying to run command prompt as administrator. Are you sure you want to allow that? Yes, I do. Close this one. Okay, now we say IP config, typing with one hand while I got a video camera in there, /renew star. And it's going to renew everything it can. At first it's going to complain that the media is disconnected from the wireless, which, hey, you know, it's wireless. That's what happens. And it's just going on and on and on, and saying whatever it's going to be saying. And it's taking its time, of course. I need some, like, cheesy cocktail music to play in the background while we're waiting for this thing to do, you know, what it's doing. Good news, folks. The 30-second reset trick I mentioned before, I just did. And now its DHCP server is giving me a 192.168.1 address, and I am about to find out with you, as we live this together, is it really there? We are getting a ping response from the router. Yeah. Alright, so there's an epilogue here. I changed it successfully to 7, and I turned off the router and turned it back on, or actually I unplugged the laptop from it and plugged it back in. And everything is happy and hunky-dory. This router is going back into service. Bad capacitors. These are generally to blame for when routers and things like this go bad. I say that like I know what I'm talking about. When you take something apart, look for something really obvious. And if you're not familiar with capacitors, I don't even know if you can see the bulge here. The top of a capacitor should be flat, level. They usually have some kind of a score pattern in them. In this case, it's a straight cross kind of pattern. Sometimes it looks like the letter K, such as on the new capacitors here that I put in. It looks kind of like the letter K. When there's a bulge there, that means that capacitor is going. And if you ever see a capacitor that's got this orangey brown crud coming off the top, it has already blown and it is essentially dead. This happened to many Dell machines throughout the world, and even some Apples, I believe. Gateways, IBMs, things like that. I don't remember exactly all the different models, but this is a fairly common problem, so keep that in mind. The capacitors that I put on here are manufactured by, you can't see that there, they're manufactured by a company called Rubicon. I wish they were paying me to give them this endorsement, but so far all the Rubicon capacitors I've used have not failed on me. The Michicons are usually the ones I've had to replace, I think. I'm telling you this from memory. But Rubicons are good, and generally if you have an older motherboard that's died for some other reason, they're going to have 6.3 volts, 10 volts, 16 volts, and various different capacitances from 1200 microfarads, 1500, 1800, some of them are 3300. If you're a geek like me, you have lots of old computer parts laying around, then chances are you'll be able to find a capacitor that's close. And so there we go. I've successfully saved an old router from becoming a doorstop. And hopefully somebody has learned something watching this. And otherwise, hopefully it has not been terribly boring. So until we meet again, surf wisely.